Hello, this time we will explain the plot of the film The Bad Batch, released in 2016. The film tells the story of a young woman named Arlen, who, after being abandoned in a barren desert, must survive in a harsh and violent world. Along the way, she encounters various eccentric characters, including a group of cannibals led by Miami Man. Arlen tries to find her place in this lawless world while fighting to survive. Behind the glamour of a seemingly free world lies darkness and cruelty that threaten everything. Here is the plot. The scene opens with a woman marked with the serial code BB5040, indicating that she is the 5040th prisoner in a prison known as the Bad Batch. This prison is located in a vast desert and has a very cruel open system. The prisoners here are left to survive on their own, without any rules or laws. The prison is isolated from the outside world, and even the laws of the United States cannot reach it. After entering, Arlen accidentally spots a parked car in a severely damaged condition. Tragically, the car is unable to be driven, and Arlen is busy applying makeup inside it. While she was engrossed in her activities, Arlen noticed another vehicle approaching the car. Without thinking twice, she ran to avoid being caught, but unfortunately, Arlen was captured by people intending to kidnap her. When Arlen came to, she found herself chained and locked in a base camp. Shortly after, a woman approached her and immediately injected something into Arlen's hand before cutting it off brutally. Not only that, one of Arlen's legs was also cut off, leaving her shocked and panicked. Carrying the severed leg in hand, the woman prepared to cook the flesh as a meal. It was revealed that Arlen had been kidnapped by a group of prisoners in the area who survived by consuming human flesh, especially new prisoners like Arlen. That night, with no place to escape, Arlen was forced to face the horrific reality before her. Arlen quickly thinks and decides to defecate as much as possible, then smears her entire body with the feces. This dirty tactic proves effective, as the older woman feels disgusted and decides to bathe Arlen. However, at that moment, Arlen secretly takes advantage of the opportunity to grab a crowbar lying nearby. With strong determination, Arlen managed to subdue the old woman. This success was witnessed by the other prisoners who were also chained up. After that, Arlen quickly dragged the helpless old woman's body, trying not to be seen by anyone. Slowly, Arlen made her way through the desert sand surrounding the base camp. Exhausted, Arlen accidentally spotted an unused skateboard lying nearby. She quickly used it to help her move faster, escaping from the place. However, the scorching sun made Arlen increasingly dehydrated. Fortunately, shortly after that, a man appeared carrying a large basket. Without saying a word, the man immediately lifted Arlen and placed her inside the basket. They traveled a very long distance, dozens of kilometers, a journey that was not easy for the man. It turned out that the man was taking Arlen to a very special place known as the Comfort. Upon arrival, Arlen was greeted by the gatekeepers, while the mysterious man who had helped her left without a trace. 5 months passed, and Arlen, who once looked disheveled and wounded, was now much better. She had managed to rebuild her life and even started earning an income by helping the busy traders of the Comfort. It turned out that the Comfort was a settlement for prisoners who chose to continue living, despite being imprisoned for various reasons. The scene then shifts to show a muscular man with a very intimidating appearance. This man looks so fierce that no one could guess who he is. It turns out that this man is the leader of a cannibal camp that had previously held Arlen captive for some time. Despite his harsh and intimidating appearance, the man known as Miami Man is deeply devoted to his daughter, and in fact, he is also skilled at painting. Out of his love for his daughter, he willingly goes into the kitchen every night to cook one of the victims, who is none other than a new prisoner brought in from outside. At the base camp, the new prisoners are treated like livestock, with their flesh used as food for the other prisoners. To make a long story short, time passes, and Arlen is now able to buy a special leg brace and a pistol available around the Comfort. With the pistol, Arlen begins practicing shooting, preparing herself to face any potential threats. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the daughter of Miami Man is preparing to leave with one of the female caretakers to a dumping ground located quite close to the Comfort. The proximity makes Arlen aware of the presence of a vehicle that was previously used when she was kidnapped. Without hesitation, Arlen decided to follow them to the dump, where she found a member of the cannibal base camp and a young girl. As shooting practice, Arlen shot the female handler, while she spared the young girl and took her away. Shortly after the shooting, the man who had previously helped Arlen realized that she had brought a young girl back to the comfort. Upon arriving there, the girl appeared to really want a rabbit. Without hesitation, Arlen immediately bought her a rabbit, perhaps as a way to bring a little happiness to the child in this cruel world. Meanwhile, Miami Man began to feel anxious waiting for his daughter to return. As time passed without any news, his worries grew, and he began to feel that something was wrong. Finally, he decided to go to the dump, even though it was quite far away. Upon arriving there, Miami Man only found the body of the caretaker, who was already dead, while his daughter was no longer there. Feeling confused and angry, Miami Man immediately approached the male scavenger who had previously helped Arlen. The male scavenger, who turned out to know about Miami Man's search, realized what was happening. Before saying anything else, the man also knew that Miami Man was an expert painter, so the male scavenger asked Miami Man to draw something. After the drawing was finished, the man finally revealed that Miami Man's child had been taken to the comfort. Meanwhile, at the comfort, Arlen grew closer to the little girl. That night, she took the girl for a walk and showed her the activities at the night market. It was then that the leader of the comfort appeared. He was known by the nickname The Dream, or The Dreamer. The Dream had a free-spirited and visionary leadership style. He even created his own currency, which is still used as a form of transaction at the comfort. Eventually, Arlen felt drawn to join the ongoing party at the comfort, but she became so engrossed in the atmosphere that she didn't notice the little girl had gone off chasing her escaped rabbit. The little girl continues walking until she comes face to face with the Dream and his wife. Without Arlen noticing, the girl is taken into the Dream's house.
The middle of the goddamn desert.
Meanwhile, Arlen, who had just finished enjoying the party and was feeling dizzy, began walking toward the exit, but she eventually woke up lying in an open area. At that moment, she realized that her legs were being held by Miami Man, who was standing in front of her. The muscular man immediately asked about the whereabouts of his daughter, and Arlen honestly answers that she does not know where the child is. Upon hearing this, Miami Man immediately tasks Arlen with finding his daughter, warning her that if the child is not found, or if his daughter does not survive, Arlen's life will be at stake. Shortly after that, they were approached by a man carrying something and offering a trade to Miami Man. The man wanted to exchange 1 jerry can of gasoline for Arlen's life as food for his group. Without hesitation, Miami Man agreed to the trade. However, the offer turned out to be a trick. Quickly, Miami Man killed the man with 2 swift blows from a sharp weapon. Since Miami Man had no food supplies, he decided to cut off the hands of the man he had just killed. This is the true definition of winning big. Miami Man managed to obtain gasoline, get Arlen, and even take the motorcycle from the man. Even when Arlen tried to relieve herself in the bushes, Miami Man kept watch, ensuring everything was under control. That night, they rested in the middle of the desert, roasting the hand of the man they had just killed. While enjoying the night, Arlen began to feel curious and asked about Miami Man's background, why the muscular Miami Man had ended up in prison. Miami Man then began to tell his life story. He revealed that he had been imprisoned for being an illegal immigrant from Cuba to America since he was 13 years old. His story left Arlen speechless for a moment, but she then took the opportunity to ask Miami Man to show her the code on his neck. However, instead of responding normally, Arlen tried to grab his knife, though her attempt had no effect on Miami Man, who remained calm. Suddenly, a gunshot halted the situation. The bullet came from nowhere and struck Miami Man directly. It turned out the bullet came from one of the prisoners who had managed to escape from Miami Man's base camp. In the chaos, the prisoner quickly took Miami Man's motorcycle and took Arlen away, heading toward the comfort. Upon arriving at the comfort, Arlen realized that the prisoner who had taken her away was prisoner number 5,884. This reminded her that in the past few days, the number of prisoners at the comfort had increased by nearly 800. At that moment, Arlen began to think deeply. How could she live freely if the number of prisoners entering the comfort continued to increase every day? This question haunted her thoughts, and she began to feel uncertain about her future. On the other hand, the male scavenger who had previously helped Arlen accidentally found Miami Man lying unconscious. Despite having little reason to help him, he decided to offer assistance once again. Starting by hunting a crow for food, the man gradually cared for Miami Man, treating him with whatever he could find around him. The scavenger truly became a savior, not only for Arlen but also for Miami Man, who began to slowly recover thanks to the man's help. One day, Arlen accidentally saw the little girl she had once met walking with the Dream's wife. The child is now considered like a biological child by the Dream and is treated with great love. At the Dreams house, the child is always pampered with luxurious facilities, which is in stark contrast to the harsh life experienced by Arlen and the other prisoners. On the other hand, Miami Man is ready to embark on his adventure without the help of the Scavenger, but it is clear that Miami Man will never forget the Scavenger's kindness. One evening, Arlen decides to visit the Dreams house, which is heavily guarded by women. Remarkably, the Dream has many wives, and all of them are pregnant, which is why Arlen is interested in becoming one of the Dream's wives. It doesn't take long for the Dream to order one of his wives to prepare a special room for Arlen. However, Arlen doesn't really want to become the Dream's wife. She's doing this to further her plan. Arlen then takes the Dream's youngest wife hostage as a way to get Miami Man's child. Luckily, Arlen's plan works, and she manages to escape from the comfort safely without a scratch. Shortly after leaving the comfort, Arlen meets Miami Man, who is naturally very excited to welcome his child. From here, Arlen decides to join Miami Man and become a member of his base camp, which Miami Man immediately agrees to without hesitation. However, a problem arose when Miami Man's child wanted to eat spaghetti, as she had been served a plate of spaghetti every day since being at the comfort. At that moment, Miami Man had nothing to offer except a rabbit that Arlen had bought for his child. In the end, the three of them ate the rabbit, though it was accompanied by the tears of Miami Man's daughter. Ultimately, Arlen's and Miami Man's journey led them to an unexpected life filled with difficult choices and unavoidable challenges. Although they managed to survive in a brutal and violent world, the fate of Miami Man's child remains a mystery that haunts them. Amidst all the despair and struggle, Arlen begins to realize that freedom is not something easily attained. In a world filled with intrigue, cruelty, and uncertainty, there is no sure path to happiness. However, for Arlen, the decisions she makes, though often filled with sacrifice, are the only way to survive, and in this harsh life, that is enough.